Hello, community. Welcome, welcome to another wonderful podcast. Dr. Anita's Keeping It Real. We always keep it real with her, you know that. And you're co-keeping it real with me, Kelli Kirkland. I am so blessed and fortunate to be Dr. Anita's co-host for a few episodes this month. Thrilled to be with her during both Mental Health Awareness Month and also during this incredible season in her life where she is celebrating 7 years this year in 2025, 7 years in business. So shout out, many claps. I said before, if we were live streaming, we'd have all kinds of emojis and things. It's an incredible milestone. And in honor of that milestone, Dr. Anita decided to switch roles and the interviewer has now become the interviewee and vice versa. So thank you for having me. I'm so thrilled and honored to get to interview you, Dr. Anita, and welcome back to your own show.
Kelli, thank you for doing this for me. It has been delightful. I always get so emotional at the last show because it means the conversation is over, but you've been incredible. The first time we did this, I told the community, I said, look, she'll be back. And I promised she'd be back. And here she is. So if we don't get her back before year 10, she'll be back for season 10, right? Right, Kelli?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Wonderful. Well, for today's topic, this is a big one, especially in today's culture right now, especially considering the work that you do, but really, when you think about it, any time in business, because we are in a time in the world where things change so rapidly. So the topic for today is navigating the pivot into a new decade as a business and for you, a new phase of life as a woman. So for those of you who don't know, Dr. Anita celebrating some milestones in her own life. And so we're going to talk about what that looks like in terms of what it is to pivot when things are new, when things are different. What are the challenges? So I'd love to start off by saying, okay, in the spirit of new and change, which sometimes, I'm going to be honest with me, can be scary. Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. And it can be exciting, but it can also be a little bit scary. And sometimes I can kind of put on the brakes and be like, wait, I'm not sure. But you are one who's like, I'm going to embrace it. So tell me, if you whittled it down to a couple of things that you're like, in these new chapters, here's what I'm embracing. What would they be? And why are you embracing those things?
Well, first of all, I'm surprised that I gave you that impression because my husband will be the first one to tell you I don't embrace change easily. I do not. I'm very much a creature of habit. I like to know where I'm going. I have a plan A, B, C, D, and E. And I remember when he and I first got married, trying to balance a budget, never having done that before, although my mom prepared me for that before I left. I would go to the bank to like make a deposit or withdrawal, and the teller would look at the screen and go, Mrs. Wilson, which account do you want us to like go from? Because I don't like surprises, right? I would have an auto account, an insurance account, whatever account. I mean, I have so many accounts because I don't like surprises.
Right.
But the more that I live, I recognize that, and again, this is not a new saying, but the only constant is change. So you may as well build, like what we talked about a couple of conversations ago, build that resiliency muscle to work through the change. And especially in the past 2 years, I've had to embrace some things that I didn't expect, didn't ask for, and didn't like, but here I am. Yeah. And there's something to be said about the sooner you embrace something, the sooner you can deal with it. It doesn't make it any less challenging. It doesn't make it any less disappointing. But when you learn to accept it, embrace it, and deal with it, then it's easier to trust the process that comes with it.
Right.
Yeah. Not sure if that answered your question quite.
It does. And I'm wondering if I think maybe along with some other community members get stuck with the term embrace. And as you said it right now, it clicked to me. I think it's maybe a semantics thing for me. I have been thinking of embrace as like when I embrace and like welcoming it and bringing it within. But as you're saying it right now, I'm like, you're not saying I have to love it or, think that's really the way I want to go. I just have to understand this is a fact before me. I recognize it. Maybe embrace is like a word that scares me, but I am recognizing the reality of this as we do in Keeping It Real.
Yep.
And once I recognize that reality, I know now what I can do to move forward. I can start strategizing. I can start navigating. I can create my plan, but I can't do any of that if I don't accept it. If I don't understand this is what's really before me.
That's right.
That's a shift for me right now, live and in the moment. I'm like, I don't want to embrace that. It's like, yes, you actually do. That doesn't mean accepting it or loving it.
Right.
It just means I know what's what. And now I know how to move forward. Yeah. That's really powerful.
And then when we embrace something, it's easier to reframe that thing, whatever it is, which is why I ask people, whatever it is that you're being asked to embrace, are you being realistic about where you're starting in that realization,
right,
where you're going to go to deal with it, and how you're going to get there. And how you're going to get there is not just the roadmap, but the challenges that you're going to face, the speed bumps along the way, the potential to run out of gas and, I need to get off this road and refuel so I can keep going. All of those things come with embracing and reframing.
Yep, that's true. And you have a saying, I don't want to misquote it. You say it's like 3 F's. Reframe, frame.
Change your frame.
Change your frame.
You can
change your focus. Change your future. Yes, I knew it. Right. Yes, when you said it, I was like, oh, I remember that because I'm such a visual person.
Yeah.
The first time I heard you say that, I like translate things into pictures in my head, and I literally saw like my brain cells or something moving, and I was like, oh, I have to start here. I have to reframe it here, right? I have to, how I think about something changes how I see it.
Yes.
And then that can change the way I move forward and do it.
Yes.
So it was very like active for me. So it just triggered right now when you were saying it, I was like, oh, that's right. I remember why we do it in that order.
Yes.
And I love that too. And this is why you can talk a bit about that if you don't mind. The power of reframing. Because see, we can't control what the world does to us. We cannot control what happens in the world as much as we want to, as much as I'm a Taurus, I'm a control freak, I want to handle all that. No, I can't. There's only so much I can do, but I can control me. I can control how I react in every situation. And that starts with me reframing it. So talk about why you feel that is so important about our power to reframe things.
Well, first of all, fellow Taurian, when's your birthday?
May what? 7th.
There you go. My brother's is May 8th and mine's May 19th.
Oh gosh. See, I knew you were kindred spirits.
Right? So it's incredible to me that you would remember that, because that was one of the first of my Dr. Anita isms when I started keeping track of them. And I remember, I think it was 2016, 2017. I was leading a session at MGM Resorts. It was about 100 people in there. I was co-leading with my dear friend, Jamie Jacobs, who's the co-author of this book I was telling you about, Designing Exceptional Organizational Cultures, the one where she was so gracious to quote me in. And we were dealing with a young man, and he's talking about the fact that his new boss was taking him everywhere and he couldn't get any work done and he felt like he wasn't trusted. I said, okay, I hear that, but let's reframe that. Let's reframe it as, your new boss is taking you with her everywhere she wants to go because she sees you as a resource. And if she sees you as a resource, if we change our frame from she's taking me everywhere she wants to go versus she's opening doors for me as she walks through. And then if we refocus from I can't get any work done to I'm leveling up and learning things at a different level of leadership to changing my future, she might be grooming me to backfill her position when she moves up.
Reframing, the power.
So we went from she's taking me everywhere, I can't get anything done, and she's messing with my performance, to she's opening doors for me. I'm learning things at a different leadership level, which will prepare me to step in behind her when she moves up. And so I will never forget that particular scenario, because that's where that thought, change your frame, change your focus, change your future, came up. And it never fails whenever I explain it to people. So thank you for remembering that.
Oh, you're welcome. Those different things stick with you. It's why I tell people all the time, I really am not one to listen to or read something once. It's like the first time is the warm up.
Right.
Because I'm just sort of receiving just everything. And it's a lot, but that second or third time, certain things pop out to me and stick to me, and doing it over different months and years, honestly, because different stages of my life, I need different things to help me through.
That's right.
What maybe I didn't resonate with me in, 2023, when I heard or read when I listened to your podcast, 2025, lots has changed. And that thing that I was like, oh, that's good, but it didn't really stick. I'm like, now it's like, blowing my hair back. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's everything I needed to hear. And I forget I heard it before, but it's like hearing it new for the first time.
So let's do something to reinforce that. You got a piece of paper and a pencil?
Yes. I always do. I'm like old school. I got a pen.
All right, community, do this with us.
Okay.
So Kelli just said, and I'm sure that we've all experienced this before, something that you heard, like maybe last month or last week or last year. You heard it then, but it didn't click until recently. So write down the word new, N-E-W. Okay. And think about it in these terms. Today's new knowledge, N-E-W, right, Now put a K in front of that, is tomorrow's new knowledge. You learned it today. It's not resonating with me. I don't need it today. But next month, oh, I knew that. Now I can put it into practice.
Absolutely.
So let's try this. Now let's do this. Now write down the word no. Now.
Oh, now. Okay.
N-O-W. Now. Okay.
Uh-huh.
What you're doing now, put a K in front of it.
Yep.
Is based on what you know today.
Yep.
And so, community, when you think about how those 2 3-letter words shift in meaning just by putting a K in front of them.
Yes.
What does that tell you about something that kind of passes through between your ears today really resonates with you in the future? And that's kind of how we go through life. That's why sometimes you need to watch a movie 4 or 5 times. I love old black and white crime mystery movies. And there's this one called A Big Sleep with Humphrey Bogart.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've seen that movie 5 times. And every time I watch that movie, I see something different. I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it.
Yes.
And you would know this. Advertisers say that, on average, people need to hear things 7 to 13 times before it clicks. So leaders, when you feel like I've said this to them so many times, well, have you said it 7 yet? And once you hit 7, then you might need to go up to 13 before things resonate. That's just how people are. So I just want to have that little sidebar to actually give you a nugget to walk away with, community, because I couldn't help myself.
I think that's great. That's wonderful. And that's what we do. We keep it real. We go in the moment. We go off the cuff. We're both people who plan, and we're like, but we're probably not going to do half the things we plan because we just go in the moment. But that's what I love about this. That's what I love about your podcast. We do what is right and real in the moment. And it's so true. And we don't worry about a script. We just say what really matters in the moment right now. And I think that's so powerful.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you as we're, working on navigating and pivoting in this new decade and in your new life. You have spoken before about pivoting without losing your purpose. And I think about that as business leaders, but also as just a human being. Pivoting in life and changing with life as we need to. But how do we do that without losing our purpose, or in other words, our authenticity, or our, who we are, our values?
That's a question that really requires reflection. And I'm not trying to deflect, but because our world is so fast paced, especially for leaders, it is imperative that you sit down and reflect. And if you are reflecting, you should be able to see a thread running across your life that says, oh, this has been my purpose all along, but it's shown up in different forms. I'll never forget when I was becoming certified as a coach, and I was doing hours with someone else, one of the executives who was becoming a coach. And he asked me to write a story. What do I care about? He said, just answer the question. I'm not looking for anything specific. Just answer the question. And as I thought about what I cared about, I saw a theme in the work that I do, from being a young adult up to where I was at that time, 20 years into the workforce. And my theme has always been about caring about the leader-follower trust relationship, caring about helping leaders understand that just because they're no longer in the trenches, they're still getting the work done through the people that they lead, which means giving them opportunities to develop by sometimes redirecting some of their work as a developmental opportunity to their folks. That's always been who I am. My mom even told me as a little girl, I was always trying to, tell people how to do stuff. Now, some people might interpret that as bossy, whatever, but that's always been my nature, is to try and educate people, equip them, and empower them. So when we talk about purpose, it's in there, but have you sat down to reflect on it and identify it and be clear about it and stand on it moving forward, so that you run less risk of an opportunity to be sidelined from your purpose? Because just because something sounds good and could be good doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for you at the moment.
Right. And what may be good for you today may not be good for you a year from now, or what have you. And so we have to understand that. And I love your point of that reflection and maybe even making a visual aid for yourself, because then you can see. Sometimes we can trick our own minds, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I stand in the mirror and I kind of go to the side and I'm like, oh, I haven't gained any weight. No, it looks fine. It looks fine. But you know, the pants don't lie.
Especially when you go to sit down and try and eat.
Right. Yeah. You're like, oh, that's a little tight. So it's like that. Like my mind can make me believe certain things, but the reality is when I see it and I'm like, no. I just look back at that picture with no filter. That's exactly what I look like. Like I just need to recognize that. So I think for the community, I know for myself, I will take some effort to really make a visual of what my purpose is, what I'm trying to do, who am I, and what am I making sure that I am, the things I do align with who I say I am. Because if I say I am this as a business, as a person, as a mom, as a, whatever, if I say I'm this, but my actions say I'm something else, then who am I really?
That's right. And we have to think about who are we in terms of the different roles that we fulfill.
Yes.
An employee, wife, mother, sister, daughter. And what's the deeper level under that? A daughter that's helping manage her mom's care. A wife who's there to support her husband's, dreams. A sister who's there to help co-manage mom's care. I mean, it's not just who you are in terms of roles, but what those roles require of you, which then means, I do need my own support circle, especially if I'm the strong one all the time. So that's a compound thought that we need to think through in terms of our reflection. What roles do I have? What do those roles require of me? And where's the circle that I need to keep me going?
Yep. And I think that's the one we often omit, or maybe don't even think about. The what do I need? I think a lot about what do I need to do for others?
Right.
What do I need to do to achieve success? What do I need to do to, keep my business going, to keep my job, to whatever? But I don't often think about what do I need for me.
Which is why I ask the question of leaders, how are you feeding your leadership soul? And then just kind of look at me like,
I don't have time for that. What are you talking about?
Not only don't I have time for that, but what is that? Yeah, what is that? And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say feeding your leadership soul, or if you misinterpret that like this, I was doing an appreciation breakfast for a group of 200 folks related to the caregiver industry. And this one gentleman very proudly got up and said, well, I mentor other people and I do this and I do that. And I said, that is beautiful. God bless you. But when you're done pouring out into other people, how are you pouring back into yourself? And for that, he had no answer. So leaders, how are you feeding your leadership soul, whatever that looks like? How are you pouring back into yourself? How are you refilling so that you can give 100% and not just the 50% that's left in the tank and try to make it 100% when this part is missing? How are you filling that back up, leaders?
Yep, absolutely. Because if your cup isn't full,
that's right.
If you're running on empty, you don't have anything to give to your team. And that then affects the business, the bottom line, how your employees are, it affects everything. So it's that, on the airplane, put your own oxygen mask on first, make sure you can breathe, because you'll be busy trying to help everyone else. And the next thing you know, you're like,
yes. And we don't want that to happen.
We don't want that to happen, especially when we have good leaders out there, right? When we have good leaders, we want you to sustain yourself. Your team wants you to sustain yourself, because every leader, sadly, isn't a great leader. So when you have someone wonderful, we want you to be at your best for yourself, because that's how we will be the best team for you for the business. Yeah. Oh, Dr. Anita, I could always just talk to you for hours on end. I love chatting with you. Love hearing from you. I love learning from you. Before we end for today and wrap up the month, is there anything you want to say to your community? Again, as we celebrate your 7-year anniversary in business, any last bits of nuggets you want to close out the month with?
Well, community, I just want to thank you for tapping into the conversation, for being a part of it. I love it when you share your insights on LinkedIn, and I just get thrilled when I repost, when you repost some of the things that I've said that really resonate with you. Just thank you for being on the journey with me. And I will say that at this pivotal moment, I am going to take a little bit of time to take a creative pause and step back. I mentioned it in my monologue earlier in the month. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm going to be running the Best of Dr. Anita. And it's just kind of taking you through the progression of my business, where I'm going next. And even though I initially broadcast this last year, I'm still on this same road. So please do me a favor, hang in there with me. To Kelly's point, there's still relevant nuggets in there. So please listen, please continue to share. And I look forward to joining you again in August. And just stay with me, please. Continue to follow, like, and overshare. I can't tell you how much this means to me. Thank you for valuing my voice. Thank you for believing that I have something that to offer that you can grow with and learn from. And again, more than anything else, give me your feedback. Our community is a learning community, and I do value your voice. Kelli, I cannot thank you enough for holding the space for me. This was just as joyous as I knew it would be. You're an awesome co-host, and I don't know, we may need to talk to Netflix about us getting a series together.
Yeah, there you go.
Just put it out there. Just put it out there.
Dr. Anita, I don't think I realized that you were taking a tiny bit of a break, and it's amazing as we celebrate your 7th year, because I really am one who likes to do homework. And you may know this, but maybe the community doesn't. Know you're a woman of great faith, and the number 7 holds great significance in both the Old and New Testaments and in the spiritual world for many, many reasons. And the number 7 really symbolizes divine order and completeness, but it also is a symbol of rest, not just rest for rest's sake, but as a rest as a way to replenish so that you can participate in a new creation. And so I, as you say that, I just think, wow, that is an incredible, what a wonderful time to take a rest, because at 7, that's when we are supposed to say, let me take a break because there is something new I'm supposed to get ready for.
And I feel that. And so I receive what you just said to me. Thank you. And community, please stay with me. Don't go anywhere over these next couple of months. Please, June and July, see it as a refreshing, but please stay with me and I'll be back in August. I promise.
Yes. And I think this is a great time to listen to and rewatch some of those things that, as we said before, doesn't always hit you the first time. Sometimes it's the second or third time. And I invite everyone in the community to do this challenge. Pick your top 3 favorite Keeping It Real podcasts and invite someone to listen to it with you and watch it with you. Have a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, a wine, whatever is your thing. Like really have, you have book club, have a little podcast club.
I love that.
Right? Say, this is what we should talk about. And people are like, I don't have time to read. Yes, but you know what? You get to just sit back, have your cup of whatever fills your cup, and share, and then have this conversation with yourself. So when we come back with Dr. Anita, we can come back with all kinds of questions, and we can share on LinkedIn and talk about all the different groups you met. Share your pictures of your groups getting together. Share what your favorite podcasts were, what you're listening to as your podcast club. What a fun summer we can have doing such a creative, impactful activity, so we can all reset and replenish and get ready for what's next.
I love that. And I'm going to make sure that my team sees this video so that we carry that idea forward. Thank you, Kelli Kirkland. That is why you are indispensable at Netflix. Thank you, Kelli Kirkland.
Thank you. Netflix is fine, but as long as I am with you, I know we're going to be good. Everyone, stay in the flow. You know what it means, the FLO. Please be sure to follow on LinkedIn, like everything, and overshare. And share it, as I said before, not just with the people who you know are going to like it, share it with the people who you know actually need it. So we're going to keep reframing those hot topic conversations from difficult to different. And until next time, enjoy your summer, rewatch, get your podcast clubs ready. We want to see all those pictures and videos on LinkedIn, lots of engagement, sharing what you've learned and your takeaways, who the new people you're bringing into the fold, and we can't wait to see what's next. Keeping It Real with Dr. Anita. Stay real, everyone.
Thanks, community, and thank you, Kelli. I love you.
Oh, my pleasure. What a joy.